So
Or just today?
last move. So you were gardening here and now gardening here. Trying to get a feel for is it Southern California, Palm Springs, Phoenix, or yeah, Montana. Oh, it's like -10 degrees right now. Welcome to paradise. New Jersey, we're more like New Jersey. We garden state, but we can garden a little bit more than you will. Anyone else over here? Iowa, very good. Yeah, we all get along. That's good. Iowa too, good. Chicago, Midwest. California, good. Save the pride. So good. There you go. Very good. Welcome. Wow. We see quite a few Sedona folks making the trip. I don't think they're coming for us. I think they're coming from Costco and Trader Joe's. We happen to be on the list. So same with Cayman. They'll come down from the VA and then get us, go to do their thing and then go back. So we see that with Seligman, that kind of stuff. So pretty broad reach. Holden, there we go. Michaela, she's one of my neighbors. She lives in Holden.
She did the class last week.
Yeah, she is
Fabulous.
very familiar with that valley area. Yeah, very familiar. So my name's Ken. I'm the owner of the garden center. My assistant here is Mackenzie. Has the same last name, Lane. We're related. That's my daughter. My favorite daughter, because she's the only one of my 4 kids that, sorry, if you're tuned in, just for now while she's working, she's favored. Otherwise, she's one of my 4 kids that works in the business. So she's the general manager. She's controllable. Hiring, firing. If you have complaints, don't talk to me. Talk to me. So, today we're talking basically how to get started if you're from other areas. So we're very similar to New Jersey, Iowa, that Midwest Chicago. If you're from Phoenix or California, Palm Springs, any of those tropical climates, just erase, reboot, start over, because everything you knew there, it does not pertain to here. The plants don't work, the seasonality doesn't work, nothing works. So whatever you tried there, just accept that's what I'm here to help you with. What we got to cover is what are our zones, garden zones. It's kind of a tricky one, but after you get done, you'll be a pro. You'll be able to go to a cocktail party, have coffee with girlfriends, go, yeah, let me tell you about zones when you get done, okay? Watering, number one question I get, water, we got to cover it. So you know when to start turning the system on, when do you turn it off, do you worry about freeze, frost dates, got to cover that one because you will be tricked into wanting to plant early. I don't want that for my friends. We are now friends. I want you to be on the right cycles, not fighting, unless you have a greenhouse. That's just cheating. So there's ways to cheat it early, but this, for the regular ones, I don't have a greenhouse. I mean, I've got thousands of square feet of greenhouse, but at home, I'm just out there in nature like you all are. Plants, this one will cover into sun, shade. I broke down native-y kind of stuff because there's different kinds of gardeners. So I broke it down so something to be of interest to you. We'll probably cover animals a little bit, although I got a separate class just for that. There's not enough time to deal with javelina, deer, and everything else. So you don't have elk in Sedona, do you? Who's in Sedona? You don't have elk over there yet, do you? Okay, they're up the elevation, yeah. They start to show up at Ash Fork in that area. There's that next elevation up. And then insider tips, just what am I doing? There's some things I'm looking at, like I'm changing out my soft water heaters. Got a soft water heater. I don't want to give my plants salt. That's bad. Our water's already salt. So I use potassium during the growing season, and I use regular sodium because it's like $5 a bag. Phosphorus-based water softeners like 30. So I can afford $30, but still, fine, it's a $25 difference. So in the winter, I use regular salt because it doesn't matter. And now I'm letting that salt go down. I'm going to shift it out and change it out because the garden season's coming to potassium-based. If you have a salt water, if you have a water softener, that's important. If you don't, I just said something on what? What the heck are you talking about? Yep. Of course, Sedona has a water softener. Of course, yeah.
Costco. Yeah. True Value, Depot. Really? Okay. Depot, I think, has some. It is harder to find. I think Costco's got it for like 30 bucks. Anyway, so she asked where. We know you're online. I'm glad you're. Hey, while you're there, just type in where you tuned in from. We'd love to hear that. Give a shout out, will you? Just let me know where they're saying they're from. But she was asking, where do you find potassium-based salt additive, the pellets you put into your salt water softener? Costco, I think Lowe's, Depot have got them. No place in Sedona has it. So just you're gonna. Oh, they do. Okay. Got it. So anyway, that's what we'll get into a couple more of those. Got some bugs I'm fighting right now. I want you to be aware. Let's talk with zones. Prescott, Arizona is a solid zone 7B. 7B. They're flirting with zone 8. In fact, they changed this to officially zone 8. What happens is they're measuring the winter temperature for the last 20 years. Wherever the average is, that's your zone. Now, when I started here 30 years ago, over 30, bears to say, we were a 6B. We were more like Ash Fork. It's the higher Highland Pines, Groom Creek. You all are a zone cooler because you're just 500, 600,000 feet higher. So it gets colder. But they'll take the 20-year average and go, that's your zone. Plants can live down. Plants have antifreeze in them. Some have more than others. Some can go colder than others. So a lilac can go down to minus, I think, 40 degrees, some crazy Wisconsin cold. We never see that. But it will also grow here. So you can grow zone 7, 8, down at 6, 7, 4, all the way down to 1. You cannot grow zone 9, 10, 11. That's Phoenix. If you even look at a basil plant with a cold thought, it will die. It will just vaporize before your eyes. Tomatoes are totally tropical. They're an annual plant. They're a zone 9 tropical plant. But we grow them, just we don't expect them to go through the winter with us because they are annual flowers. A lot of the lantanas for you Phoenix folks, those are annuals. There's a huge variety of lantanas. There's 2 that will come back for us. So those 2 are down to zone 7s. They'll go down to 0 degrees, 10, 0 degrees, but they won't go to minus 10. They'll die at that point. So all the other ones, they're annuals. Some of them, they love the heat. Those beautiful bushes we're talking about, the bright pinks and yellows and oranges, most of those are for the Valley, Phoenix area, the flatlands of Phoenix, not up here. But there are a couple that we found, okay? Camellia is the same way. There's 2 or 3 varieties that will take the cold. They're called the Ice Princess series. So you folks from California, you love your camellias. Most of them are tropical plants. They're not going to winter over. So do your homework. Look at the tag. If it says it's a 7, even 8, I've got quite a few 8s, but I put it out where it's a little more protected. So some barrel cactus. I've got a palm tree. It's been out there for years. So I've got a few, but I'm a gardener. So don't tell me what I can or cannot grow. I'll find a way. So I position it and I try to get it over here and I practice. And if I make a mistake, I go, well, I tried. So yes, in the back. Yes, that's good. Paulden asked, yes, we had 2 Paulden people here, right on. Usually it's Prescott Valley thinks they're way specialer than anyone else. So we are all the same. We're all in the same boat. So 200 feet makes no difference between zones. A whole nother, so Flagstaff, yeah, that's a whole nother game. White Mountains, whole nother game. As you go out to Dewey, as you go out to Mayer, the Spring Valley area, Cordes Junction, even Sedona, you're a solid 8. So you need plants. You need plants that can go down to about 15 degrees or colder. So you're 5 degrees warmer than we are. What you have in Paulden is extremes. All that cold air spills off of Ash Fork and settles on you every night. And you get the wind, like real wind. Like the folks in Prescott on the Ridgelines think they have wind, but you really have wind. So everything's extreme. You also have free water, which means you've got beautiful wells, unlimited water, which means you're not gardening, you're watering. So you tend to kill things. Personal experience, I'm an advisor. Here's a mistake a lot of Paulden folks make. They grossly overwater. So they kill things. You're more likely to kill stuff from overwater than from under that heavy clay. So if in doubt, in Paulden especially, with heavy clay, that valley area, I would say Dewey all the way over to Prescott Valley, all the way to Sing Valley. If in doubt, let it go dry. Let it go an extra day. See if you can go an extra day. Wait until the tomatoes in the middle of summer start to wilt at the end of the day. And I'm so dry. You know, good. Second the sun goes down, you go, oh, no, I'm fine. I'm okay. Let it stress a little bit rather than overwater. You get root rot and stuff is what happens. So that's something I can tell you. That's almost, we're down to here. So sorry, we jumped down to here real quick, but I appreciate that question. All the same zones. Does that make sense? So when you look at the tag, I want zone 8. Really, 7 is solid. Any of you, you're solid, okay? If you're up in the higher elevations, you're up into Groom Creek, and it's in the shade under all those pine trees. Maybe you're a zone 6. Maybe you go to 6. Highland Pines the same way, going up the hill up here because you guys are up at that high 6,000 foot level. I'm at 5,700 feet where my house is, and I'm a solid zone 7B. I can go 7, and I flirt with 8 pretty strong. Here's the biggest trick. Here's the difference in your gardens. And you notice that every yard, you have a north, south, east, west. That's the difference. Your neighborhood, north, south, east, west, especially if you're on some of these hills. I'm up in the Eagle Ridge, Prescott Lakes, that Prescott Highland Pines area, up above the high school. It's hilly. And so what you'll find is the east side gardens are way more successful because it gets chilly, but then the sun comes up and just warms them right up. So it's less extreme. It helps plants thrive. And yet at the end of the day, during June, July, August, it's hot. It gets shaded. So the east side of trees, east side of sheds, east side of your house, that's your magic spot. Inside your house, your African violets are going to love the east side windows. That's just what they love. It's bright, but it's not hot. Your west side is surprisingly good. You would think west would be super hot. No, because it's shade, 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 and then afternoon, 1 o'clock, then it starts to get sun, and the end of the day it gets. So those will be some of my personal best gardens. South is a challenge. It's hot. You better choose wisely. So ask us. We can help you get the ones. Go, I want something like sun and a blow dryer. That's what I want. Those plants. Where are they? And we'll have a whole section of just those. They love that. The hardest one to grow is shade. We don't have a lot of shade sections, yet it's not shade. It's bright shade, and it's dry, dry, dry shade. So your hardest month to grow anything here is the month of June. The reason being, you think it'd be January because it's cold. This January is not normal. This is like freaking me out. The fruit tree is going to bloom early. Bugs are out already. We need to have one last real cold hurrah. I want to see I want to see 6 inches of snow for a week and just freeze everything. That's what I want. That'll postpone everything to wake up. We may or may not get that. We're in the mountains. That's the way it works. So turn those phones off. Go ahead and answer it. Let's see who it is. Hey, bring them up. I'll talk to them. Okay. Turn your phones off. Okay. I'm wondering if I turned mine off. I was actually doing a radio program live, and my phone goes off in front of the microphone, of course. I just kind of go, hey, folks, just a minute. I got to answer my phone. Just put them on the air. It's hilarious. Anyway, where was I at? Oh, what's that? Oh, yeah, north, south, east, west. Yeah. So the north side, I've got a north side. I still have snow in my gardens on the north side. It was 65 degrees yesterday. So the ground freezes and it just sticks around more. Those would be more challenging for you. So you'll make a few mistakes. Don't kick yourself for making a mistake. That's how gardeners learn. It's not, you can hear this all day long, and I'm here to help you close the window so you make a few less mistakes, but you're still going to make some. That's how you learn. It's okay. So forgive yourself. I think we're too hard on ourselves. And if the plant's ugly and struggling, I'm giving you permission. It's not a puppy dog in the ground. It's just a plant. Get it out of your $1 million house and you have this ugly plant there. Dig it out, put a new one in. So you gardeners, I feel for you. You need medication or something. More plants. So we hold on to talking to a buddy of mine. He's got really old Nandinas or heavenly bamboos. I don't know if I brought one. Yeah, this is heavenly bamboo. Plants have an age or a life cycle. They're just like people, only they're prettier. Their foliage, their flower, they bring us joy. Some people do that for us, but not all of them. So this one, it's just he'd had them in for like 20 years. They were starting to get old and they were suckering all over the yard. He was just more work than it was worth. As plants get old, they think they're about to die. What they do is they want to repopulate. One last hurrah before they collapse. So Russian sage, roses will do this. Nandina, obviously. Some plants get old. Junipers, they shouldn't live past 15 years, or they get woody, old, thick. They just get this ratty look. Yes, they're still alive. They just date your house and they bring you down. So what I told him was, you need to dig these things out. They need a bumper and a chain, please. There were only 5 of them. Just pull them out, put fresh new. We showed him a couple other things, and you need to put some freshness in every once in a while, especially if it's a new home. You need bigger, fast. You need to juice them to make them grow faster because they look immature. For you folks that bought someone else's home, there you need to remodel sometimes because it's got thick and overgrown, and you were attracted to it because another gardener owned it before you. And look at all this stuff they planted, but it was too much and it's too thick and it's competing. It's okay to thin out, to make it firewise, to put your thumbprint. It's okay to kill something every once in a while. For me, I try to introduce at least 10% new plants into my gardens every year. If you're doing that every 10 years, you've always got something fresh, new showing up in your yard. So this year, my front yard, right there on display for everyone, is I had Salvia gregii, autumn sage. Trying to get the Latin and the common names in my head. So left brain, right brain. It's a beautiful little plant. I don't have it here now, but it's a beautiful little plant that blooms with red flowers from April through October. It's amazing. Hummingbirds will love you. They can't resist it. It's a great plant. Every yard needs at least 5. They come in different colors, but I had some old ones and they're getting kind of woody in the middle. I had some struggles at the end of the drip line. It started to die and I went, okay, that's a cue. These guys are getting old. I ripped them right out, put fresh new ones. I'm set for another 10 years. So I try to do something every year, something fresh. And I'm giving you permission to do that too. Something good, something you go, I remember planting that 2 years ago. Okay. Water. Let's do some handouts. We should do that. So could you help me, Mackenzie? Make sure everyone gets one of these. And make sure, and I need one. And we'll do this because I have top 10 plant list. I want everyone to get that. The planting guide, vegetable calendar, and then these. Good. Now I need one of these. Yep. Okay. So I've got 3 handouts for you. One, I'm going to give it to you physically, but because ink is expensive and I just don't want to use my printer that much, and you never know when you hit print anymore whether it's going to work anymore because we don't use printers very often. I'm going to email 3 handouts to you, okay? So if you're already part of the garden club, I'm not emailing this to all 12,000 people, only to the 25 that are here. You're the only ones who are going to get it. Okay, I'll post them online too for you, okay? Since you're here, glad you're there in your pajamas, but you should be down here with us. We're gardeners. It's pretty cool. No, it's just going to go to you all. So put your email, and if you could, some of you have terrible handwriting. Just take a moment and is it a 6 or a B? What are they trying to tell me? I don't know. Take a moment just so I can interpret your handwriting, put it in and email it to you, okay? So you'll have 3 things. One, we're going to go over water guide, planting guide. I've got a top 10 list. These are not by any means all the plants, These are the main 10 that people seem to go for. These are the top sellers kind of thing. Doesn't tell you anything about them. You can do deeper dive if you want, but I broke it down into top 10 flowering shrubs, top 10 shade trees, flowering trees, top 10 fall color, evergreens, vines, ground covers, top 10 fruit trees. They'll all be there. Okay, so that's coming to you. That'll be a digital copy. Now I want my Sedona person to have this. Where's she at? Here, you may have this. Everyone's going to get a copy. She gets a physical copy. And the vegetable calendar guide. If you're a vegetable grower, and there's a little correlation of flowers, but it goes off of frost dates. Where do you start carrots as opposed to tomatoes, as opposed to cucumbers? This is not just regurgitated from Google. This is our guide for here. And yes, Paulden is the same as Sedona, is the same as Prescott Valley, same as Prescott. We're all the same. We're in the arc together. So you might be off by, I think May 9th is our average last frost date for Prescott, Arizona. Where we stand right here, May 9th. They have 100 years of data and May 9th. So here's the thing about averages. It's never on May 9th. It's either mid-May or it's in the end of April, but the average is May 9th. So locals use Mother's Day as kind of a demarcation on when can I start planting the summer stuff? When did the tomatoes go in and cucumbers and eggplants instead of the lettuce, the carrots, the soft, the cold hardy things? So that's what locals use. You can cheat it and go a little earlier, and I do. I mean, I'm a gardener. I want to be the first one to go to that backyard barbecue and go, I just picked my first tomato and it was so good. All right, how are you doing on your tomatoes? I want that conversation. So I've got little things that I do to trick him into getting 2-3 weeks ahead of time. But this is the calendar for you. This is when you start exactly everything. That will be emailed to you. Who's my other Paulden person? Here, I want you to have that one.
Thank you.
Okay, so those will come to you. What I want to go over is this. You've got my business card. On the back of my card is the number one question everyone gets. And so anyone that's a horticulturalist, they deal with people and plants, we print their card, turn their face away from you and look at the back. Because it's how often do I water every month of the year? We do water all 12 months of the year here. We can go through very long dry spells in winter. And a plant's got antifreeze, as long as it can move up and down the plant with some water, it won't freeze. If you turn off that irrigation system in November, you don't turn it back on until April, we can literally have what we call winter kill or tip burn, where the tips will die off because it ran out of water, it dried out, and the plant will it'll try to stay alive. It'll keep the heart of the plant alive. There's enough water to keep this alive, but I'll have to sacrifice this because I'm too dry right now. So we're watering, if you look here, it says winter, November through March. We're watering trees and shrubs, established things. So your big shade tree, your hedgerows, twice a month. It's not that often. Just pick a nice sunny day in January, but the landscaper turned my irrigation off. You're gonna have to do it like your grandparents did it. Connect the hose up and drag it out there and water them. Or turn it on by hand or something. There's ways you don't have to just, I'm automated, I don't know anything else. Put the cell phone down and go pick the hose up and water by hand if you need to. Especially new things. If it's under 2 years old, the root structure isn't quite mature enough, so it hasn't gone out enough. So it's more dependent on you than, let's say, a big established Arizona cypress. That one might not need that. But that new Heterophotinia, they need that. So go help them. During the peak of the season, this is the most important. So our growing season is April through October. We are full on planting. Gardeners have been baking cookies way too long, and they want to be outdoors in the sun with their hands, dirt on their hands. I want to get outside. That's April through October. That's our growing season. Okay, we got frost date in May, but our growing season starts it actually starts in March. You're putting potatoes, onion sets, pansies, snapdragons in. I mean, you're doing that in March. You should be getting your soil ready now because you'll be planting in 6 weeks. So we'll have full stock lilacs, forsythia. We're bringing those things in early. Fruit trees in way early. So we're trying to push them now, trying to go, when can we normally start shipping in first part of March? But bring them now. People are in. They want to go now. It's spring's early. And it is early. And I'll show you why in a second. So established plants. So established, most of our plants are established. About once a week is good. This is hard for you folks with free water. Paulden, I've got a well. There are lots of wells here. So in Prescott, your water bill is super expensive. Can I go once every 2 weeks? Is it possible? Because my bill was too high. But if the well is like free, all you're paying is electricity, you tend to overdo this. So this is the number one mistake I find people make. SoCal, the old areas where you flood irrigate or pop-up heads, you tend to overwater stuff. You're watering every other day so try to back off some. Take all that water, give it all at once. So what you're trying to do, let's try this. Let's talk about this camellia. I mentioned that earlier. This plant has been confused for a month now. It's been in full bloom. Normally they don't bloom until February. These have been blooming since the end of December in my house and here. So you could tell the season is a month early because plants don't lie. When the birds get frisky and the plants start to bloom a little bit or start to elongate, so the Deodar cedars just started to push their new growth out. Those are all cues going, oh, they're ready to go. So they know what's coming. They know when. They don't read the El Nino. They don't read Farmer's Almanac. They just kind of sense it and they know what's going to happen. So I tend to watch plants and they'll tell you. Camellia, though, when you're watering, you're trying to put those drip emitters here to here. You're trying to run it so the water goes through this root zone and a little bit farther. You want to train those roots to go after or chase the water. If you're watering real frequently and very little, just let's say every other day for 30 minutes, that water's only going to go down to here. And the root's going to sacrifice, going to die. And then it'll start sending roots this way going, well, I never get deep watered. Don't focus on this. Focus out here and the roots will start running real sideways. So train your plants to go deep. The way you do that is you run your system not as often, but a very long time. So a drip system probably is running for trees and shrubs where you got a deep root. You're probably running that for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Again, the average contractor puts on a 1 gallon per hour emitter head. So it needs to run for an hour to get 1 gallon of water. That's the math. The math is kind of hard. It's just, really? Only a gallon? Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's why sometimes you need 2 emitters or 3 for a big tree to get enough water on there in 2 hours. So run it longer, but then let it dry out because you've pushed that water all the way through the root zone and a little bit farther. But the ground looks dry up top. That doesn't matter. It's what's down here. So some of you need to invest seriously in a water meter. Best tool ever. If you can't tell when to water, just stick the tool in. It'll tell you, oh, it's still wet. Nope, it's still wet. So that's the insider tip I can give you on watering. Okay. Lawns are different. We don't have a lot of lawns here, but there's a few, usually for the dog or the golf, putting green. Flowers will be more often, and that's on there. Vegetables and flowers, kind of the same. These are shallow rooted things. So the advice I can give you there is see if you can go every other day. See if you can go a little bit longer. Better to go longer than overwater. For me, I use pansies. This time of year, my pansies are glorious. They're beautiful. They're in full bloom. They're growing like crazy. They're celebrating the early spring arrival. They're really pretty. But they're also like canaries in the coal mine. They're crybabies. If they get dry, they lay down. If they get too cold, they lay down. They're just always talking to you. And okay, put the talkative ones out there and read them. So when I see my pansies, not in the morning, they'll lay down and pop right as soon as the sun comes up. They're going, oh, never mind. I'm warm. So, but I'll use them in the middle of the day if they're starting to lay down and go, oh, that garden, that section, that area, that raised bed, that container is dry. I need to probably water those. In the summer, what's a crybaby in the summer? There's some in the summer that are the same way. Tomatoes can be that way somewhat. They'll kind of curl up going, oh, tomatoes are just big They're so dramatic. Oh my gosh. They'll lay down, get hot. They'll watch them and they'll tell you, oh, I could probably go an extra day because they didn't wilt at the end of the day for those. So anyway, okay. Frost dates, water, frost dates. Mother's Day, we mentioned the last frost is May 9th. You folks in Prescott Valley are totally different. You are May 5th. Okay? Totally different. May 5th. We're all basically, Sedona, I think, is the end of April. We're pretty much that May plus or minus a week. That's about where we're all going to come in at. Groom Creek, I think you're May 11th or something, you're a couple days later. So, but we're not like Flagstaff. They're Memorial Day. Okay, they're a full month because they're at 7,000 feet. That's a whole nother zone. Those are zone 6, 5 plants. We're not that. That's why we don't live up there. Why would anyone, unless you're a skier, and you can live here and go up there and ski for the day and come back. Why would you do that? So I'd rather be warm. I don't want to be in Phoenix, zone 9 or 10. It's just, that's who lives 10 miles from the sun. Come on, get out of there. That's crazy hot. Up here, it's better. So it's the mildest 4-season climate we can get. Okay. So your frost dates, the very first frost date, the Halloween is the demarcation line. It's October 29 actually, but locals use Halloween. We know it's probably going to turn cold, so be ready. The tomatoes are in full bloom. You're just loaded up. You're going to get that last flush of geraniums. We might have some sheets to kind of cover things and protect them and get an extra week or two. But by the middle of November, it's over. We're frosting. So right now, what you're finding, a phenomena, and I'll jump down to here real quick because it relates. You're seeing ground heave. So it freezes, the ground freezes every night. So right now you walk across the ground at crunchy, it's icy, this much. So we do get a frost line. It's this deep. So we're you folks from, where was it, Minnesota or was some crazy Iowa? Yeah, that's 8-foot frost. I mean, come on. What are you thinking? How do you grow corn there? It's crazy. So here we don't get that. We might get a couple inches, but we keep planting year round. You can plant everything you see out there right now. It's meant to be planted now. So because we don't get a frost line. So what will happen though is by 10 o'clock, by the end of this class, that ground will thaw. And so you get this freeze thaw as things freeze, they expand, and then as they thaw, they do this. So you'll see the top of the ground get real fluffy. It's called soil heaving. It is terrible for your plants. It destroys all the roots at the top layer. That's why we use more than other places. We'll tend to use mulch or cedar bark or top dressing with compost. So all my gardens that I have out there, I'll tend to put a 2-3 inch layer, usually in the fall, just to insulate. But what I'm really after is, especially on my mature, more established beds, I don't want my roses to heave and lose all that upper roots. So that's a little trick that maybe is more important here than other areas, is a top dress. And don't overdo it. I mean, just 2-3 inches. That'll be enough because that's our frost line. And what will happen is when spring warms up, it will start to, the bacteria will go in there, break that down, and it'll become food. It'll add to the soil base to your gardens. Okay, so top dressing. If you haven't done that, do it now because it's heaving. It will heave every day from now through the last frost. And when is that? Mother's Day, May 9th. Just think first week is somewhere in there. I predict this year, we'll see, it's going to be the end of April. You can start planting early, just be ready. So I had a customer send me, it was hilarious. He had planted early his vegetables, like the summer stuff. So he planted them, and then we got that one last frost, end of April. He took all of his garden hats and threw them on top of his plants because he didn't have enough sheets to go over them. I went, oh, that's actually pretty good. I saw someone put a glove over their plant. I went, okay, that works. For the evening, that's enough. So just if you do that, just be ready. Get some frost cover. You can use it year after year. Don't use plastic. That just does more damage. Something breathable is what you're after, a lighter material. Okay. So we covered zones, water, frost. Oh, there we go. Should we go into plants? And I'll sneak in a few insider tips while I'm doing plants. Okay. Let's start with how do you know it's going to be frost or spring early? Let me move this over so we can see some things. Go that way. And then let me just take a real quick sip of coffee here. Can you tell I've already had 2 cups? Okay, let's start down here. So I put native stuff, flowering things you can put in early, some shade things, and some things you've seen before, maybe not have seen. But let's start with how do you know spring is coming? So we've cut back our grasses. This is a combination of insider tip and how do you know it's spring? So we cut this back, I don't know, a month or 2 ago. This is where you should take most of your ornamental grasses. So you're going to cut them back. And they're probably brown. They might have some old spent plumes up there, but you want to take it back. The way you know it's starting to be spring is you're already starting to see the new growth, green growth coming up. So this was not this way. This is all just brown. And all of a sudden, it's starting to shoot up green growth. That's how you know, oh, this plant is saying it's going to be early. So grasses, you want to cut them back. If you don't cut them back, you got green intermixed with brown. You're going, I should have cut that back. You'll be kicking yourself all season going, I should have cut that back. Once a green starts growing, you're going, oh, but I can't do it now. So if you haven't done it, you got some green, just go ahead, go for it. It's so early. The other way I can tell it's early is this is a nectarine. So nectarines grow very well here, but you'll see here, and I'll see if I can, this is just for you all. You'll see the buds starting to really swell. Does that even come in as a, oh, you can see the swelling. Those are all the flower buds, and they're huge. And if you walk your yard, you're going, whoa, that's pretty good. That's why I think if we had one last cold snap, it would slow this thing down and it would bloom a little later. Otherwise, it can get tricked into blooming too early. Then they're exposed, and we get that one last frost, and it'll take out your fruit. So, okay, that's kind of things I look for. Okay, native stuff. So I've got this one. Oh, I wanted to cover one other thing too. Let's cover that. I don't want you all to make a mistake. Clay. We mentioned that freeze thaw. That destroys your clay because water gets in here, then it freezes and it expands. So you will get cracking, flaking, things happen. So be careful what kind of clay. This is especially important for you folks from SoCal, Phoenix. They're notorious for making mistakes like this. They'll take those beautiful clay pots with the charcoal stains on them. Those are Mexican clay pots. They're not even put in a kiln. They're formed and they're thrown into a fire pit. And that's how they get that very beautiful patterning. But they're not good clay, and they're not high fired. There's no way. I've seen those literally melt in the rain. They're made for the desert to never see cold or no freeze and thaw, or they'll break apart. So what you want to use, so this is a German clay or Italian terracotta clay, that orange colored one. That's like that. So this would never go through winter. This is for a house plant or to garden on the back patio and empty it out and it's stored in your shed, garage, or under the deck. You don't want to garden in this one for year round. What you can do is, where's that one? This one. So this is a Goshiki holly. Is that cool? It's an evergreen. This is how it looks in the winter. In the spring, it'll elongate with new growth. It's real pink colored. So Goshiki in Japanese means plant with 5 colors. So it has 5 different colors. It shows up on it as it grows. This is its winter color, these two colors. But it's just a great evergreen. I've had this out in full sun, in the shade. My big nemesis is javelina. There's herds of them. They don't eat this, so they leave it alone. And it just takes it's got a real waxy, thick, kind of tough, waxy leaf, which makes it real efficient on water use. It doesn't dry out very easily because it's conservative on water, but it's pretty. This is really pretty in more shaded areas this time of year because it's so bright. It gives you a bright spot. So I use it that way when I'm designing. I'm thinking, oh, where's my east, my north sides? Let's put it there because it'll be beautiful, November through March. So, yep. So Goshiki gets maybe not even hip high. Call it 3x3. If you want a bigger one, there's some bigger ones I'll show you in a second. Let's go back to the pots. Just want to show this so I can put it out here. This one is a glazed, it's a thicker pot, and it's glazed and it's super high fired. So it's good clay, high fired. So that you could garden year round. I brought one that I could lift, but I've got trees that are, big pots, been out there for years. I almost wish they would break. I'm getting tired of the color. I want something different or a new pattern or new. So they go so long because this is a style statement. They're more expensive, but even if the plant, let's say I've got a peony right now, it's in a big oxblood red container, and it's spectacular. I mean, it gets huge. It's an Ito peony. It's gigantic peony. It's gigantic flowers on them. It's died back to the ground. You don't hardly know it's there, except the color is so bright. Even without the plant up and showing off, it still looks like a piece of art. That's how you kind of spot high-end or good quality containers. And all of our pots, we specifically go for ones that can take our freeze thaw. We know there's freeze thaw, and we're dealing with people in $1 million homes. We're going for resort size or big home or commercial size containers. If you got this big double door with windows on the sides, you can't just have this pot there. It's got to be something showier. It's got to make a statement. They need to be matching as you go up. So we're trying, that's kind of our niche that we go after. Okay. But look at, you can even tell it just sounds tinny and thick and sounds like it's solid all the way through. You never hear that with the lesser clays. It has more of a thud to it. So just watch that. Go for glazed, no freeze thaw. If in doubt, ask us. We put that back. Okay. If you have you want something bigger, and you want it to look like that Goshiki, this is English ivy, or English holly, excuse me. This one gets big, so it gets bigger. Has a similar look. Okay, that's the one you have to go. This holly's for you East Coast, Midwest folks. It's New Jersey. This will grow right out there in full sun. Here, the tag says it will grow in full sun. In most parts of the country, it does. Here, I find it does best when it has some midday shade in June. The tips can scorch, so it will live. You might not want it to live. But if you give it some protection, it won't scorch. It'll take a lot of sun, but I find it does better outside of that middle of the summer sun. It struggles. Right now, it doesn't matter. So just a little insider tip, and you'll find that in your yard, they perform a little differently than they did in my home where I came from. They're a little bit different. So ask us if you're not sure. We'll guide you through. Yeah. Yeah, cedar wood's great because it doesn't break. What wood does is, about 5 to 7 years out, you'll pick it up and the bottom drops out. So it just kind of, the bottom is what's weak on those. So no, I would say in 7 years, a cedar pot, you want a new one anyway. Because it'll look old, the rungs will start falling apart. You're going, oh, I should have bought new ones last year. You'll kick yourself because now you've got a beautiful plant. Just go with it. When it drops out, get a new one. Yeah. Yeah.
Full sun necessarily means same as full sun here.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So his question, Paulin's got some good questions today. So his question is, what's the definition of full sun in Arizona at this altitude? So the sun is brighter here. Wind is more ferocious. The air is drier. Those are your things. And our soil is alkaline, very alkaline. So sun. Full sun is defined as 6 hours or more of sun equals full sun. Okay. Under 6 hours, I would say would be shade. That's kind of my demarcation line. And so, I'm looking through, and when you read so when you're walking plants, read the signage we make, because it's like a curse. When you're a horticulturalist, you're going through neighborhoods going, oh, look where that's growing. I can't believe it's growing there. Wow. It's a full of javelina or deer infested neighborhoods. Wow, they don't eat that. So we're always trying to think, where does it grow? How much sun does it take? And we just log it away. And then we put that on our signage out front. The tags on the main tags you see here, this is the national tag. And generally it's where you start, but we'll actually say 6, we'll take wind, animal proof, we'll put that on there. And then we're trying to curate the plants. So these are our native low maintenance plants. These are our animal resistant plants. We don't want you to make a mistake. We want you to be successful. If you do that, we know you're coming here, you're going to pay a few bucks more. We know that. We're not trying to compete with Home Depot. I call it Home Dumpo. We want you to be successful where you're actually, those plants thrive. You know, whoa, they were so good. I want another one. And that's our independent nursery claim to fame. We know who we are. We better deliver on it. So we're trying to help you. So you'll see 6+, 6-. Look at that. Okay. What else? Where was I? Oh, let's just go native stuff. This is a plant you'll see growing wild out in the Bradshaws, Mingus. This is Oregon grape holly, or Mahonia is the native name. So Oregon grape holly. This is the one that actually grows wild. You'll just see this out there, usually underneath the oak trees. You'll see it's a ground cover kind of spread out. You can see the flowers are about to go. It's another indication. This thing will be in bloom in a month. It'll be bright yellow flowers. It's an evergreen. This is its winter color. In the sun, it turns more purple. I've got it growing underneath my juniper tree, and it's just green. I wish it was purple, but it's just green. In the shade, it stays green. In the sun, it gets a brighter color. But they all get this flower, just lower flowers, and they call it Oregon grape holly because these flowers turn into little tiny grapes. They get a seed. They're tasty. They're hard to eat. You will find Oregon grape jellies and stuff. It's really good. You don't want to make that yourself because it's too hard. Just let the birds. I planted for the birds. They love them. And then very few things will grow underneath the juniper. So these great big alligator or shaggy bark junipers, they're always littering stuff. And so they tend to suffocate most things. This thing I found thrives. Of course, this is where it grows naturally. So I watered this. I got it established. Took maybe 18 months, 2 years at most. And I have not watered it since. It's a true native. In fact, now I'm trying to control it because it wants to take over the yard. I went, okay, no, you're not doing that. You're not coming up here. This is the border. Stay in bounds. And so you got to control, plant a little bit of maintenance once a year, go a long ways. It'll take sun, shade, you can curse at it. It'll take anything you give it. Yeah, sun or shade, doesn't matter. Okay, Oregon grape holly. It also comes in a couple different heights. That's the low growing one. It's called an ankle high. There's compact, which gets about, I don't know, hip high. There's standard Oregon grape that gets about chest high. So there's 3 heights. Pick the height you want. Okay. We are famous for this one. This is, they call it century plant. That's the locals call it that because once every 100 years it puts on this gigantic flower. Gets 10, 12, 15 feet tall, and then the mother plant dies. They don't have little pups around it. That here, it doesn't take 100 years. Generally, if it's in a landscape where it's cared for by a gardener, maybe every 15 years, maybe every 20. And then it will do this beautiful, it's a phenomenon. It's a pollinator paradise when you look at it. It's something wild to watch. It's carefully, I don't put this where the grandkids might run into it. So it's pokey. But javelina, nothing bothers it. This is full sun. This is 6 hours or more, and then take a blow dryer to it. Plant it surrounded by asphalt. It loves that. Dark colored rock throughout the yard. It's going to love the radiant heat. So it's just a slow grower. It can get about this big before it actually starts to bolt and go into flower. You can plant this in a pot. In fact, it's famous. That's where all the Architecture Digest, they've got them in a pretty pot with this kind of structure to it because it's so, oh, look at that. Never seen that before. Yeah, very much so. So we do a lot of agaves and a lot of yuccas. We do not grow a lot of cacti. Cactus, see folks, if you think you're in Phoenix, saguaros do not grow here. Okay, not going to do it. So all this fancy big, if it grows in Phoenix, it won't grow up here, except for a couple. We've got some choyas, opuntias, or prickly pear cactus. We've got some of those. There's a few. This is where zone 8 comes in. You can take a few barrel cactus. So I've got a red hooked barrel cactus because they're so cool. I've got one in a container. It's been there for over a decade. And what I do is I bring the pot indoors right now. So it's not indoors. It's under the front of my house, the overhang. And I have that pot touch my house. So your house radiates enough heat. It's got the protection from all that frost. That's my insider tip to force it to happen. I don't cover it burlap because I think that's an ugly look. If you can't live and look good, I don't want you. I don't want burlap. I don't want homeless people out in my yard where I've got tents and covered burlap. You got to live, but that you can flirt with that somewhat. But no way you can get a zone 9 to live through here. There's no way a citrus plant, oranges, they're not going to live. No way avocados are going to live up here. Don't try. Just plant apples, cherries, peaches, apricots. Plant the stuff we grow naturally. Those will thrive out there, okay? It's just a gold sword or a royal flush agave. These two are cousins. They can be planted together and they just look good together, okay? If you like that deserty, pokey, spiny, there's a look for that. And this is it, okay? I brought this one because it's a lesson. This is the #1 selling yucca of all of them. And I brought it to go, what do you do with it? So if you've got these in the yard, you've got these spent flowers. The only maintenance you do, you cut the flower off, you leave the rest of the foliage intact. A rookie move I've seen a couple times, they're thinking this is a grass. And they do this to it. Where my grass thing went? They cut it back and they do this. It will take years for that to recover from that. This is meant to be evergreen foliage. So you just simply taking the flower back, okay? This one has this bright red flower to it. Hummingbirds love it. Comes in gold, comes in a kind of a sunshine yellow or bright yellow. Comes in oranges and reds. And you can mix and match. The only difference, they all take full sun. They all get the same size. You want a blonde or you want a redhead. That's the only difference between the two. They're the same exact plant, same sun, same shade, but red flower, yellow flower, or orange flower. That's the only difference, okay? Red yucca, just yucca. This is the #1 selling yucca. Sometimes gophers can go after the roots. If you have pocket gophers, we don't have moles. If you're from the East Coast, you got this gigantic beast, gigantic tunnels everywhere. We don't have that. What we have is prairie dogs, the higher elevations. They're not too bad. Pocket gophers are our nemesis. They love the valley area. You'll see mounds showing up everywhere. There's an underground rat, literally the size of a rat, ugly looking bucktooth thing. And he's got a pocket underneath his jowls here where he throws dirt into it as a shovel, kind of like a basket. He takes it out and he throws it out these holes. So we get these pocket gophers. And they love to eat roots. They're eating the roots of your plants. If you have that, talk to me offline, and I'll show you how to kill underground rats. They deserve to die. I've literally seen my broccoli, I've seen it disappear under the ground. That is offensive to me. It's not going to happen in my gardens. I'm coming after you and your children when that happens. Demarcation lines here, go eat my neighbors. Don't come over here. So they're kind of a challenge. But this one you'll see growing wild. Oh, I guess I should do this because it's related. This is also a yucca. Isn't that pretty? So I put it in a blue pot because blue and gold is just classic. Just design. It just says Scream style. I've got one of these on either side of my beautiful granite fountain out front because it just says flowing water with desert stuff. It plays with the design elements in your head. I've got one going down to the backyard. So it's a 2-story house, huge elevation change. Well, to get to the back gate, I've got this beautiful mustard colored pot with this in it, and it must be this big around, and it's glorious. I hardly do anything to it. I ignore it, and it still looks good. So it's an evergreen. This one does not get a red flower, it gets a white flower. And the difference between yuccas and agaves, most agaves, not all of them, when they bloom, the mother plant dies, and they'll have pups underneath that. These guys, when they bloom, the mother plant does not die. You simply cut off the flower and start over. That's the only real difference, okay? It's called gold sword yucca. Okay. This one is one of my favorites. This one and this one, they're kind of related. Not related, but we plant them in the same gardens. This one in Paulden, in Prescott Valley, you all make this famous. This is bear grass. It'll get up about this high. It's a beautiful, thick, full grass. This does not do it justice. It's a baby, but it will get up to be this nice, hip high, beautiful grass. Then it will get this white flower like a yucca on top of it. Again, this one is not, it's an evergreen. So you just cut the flower off and then let it go, okay? So bear, like bears, lions and tigers and bears grass. That's what that is, okay? Super hardy. So I plant it, I water it maybe a year. I try to neglect this because if you kill this, it will be from caring for it too much. So it wants to go dry sometimes, okay? Bear grass. And then this one grows up. If you go up the hill here, you'll see a nice gray shrub. That's called gray leaf cotoneaster, or cotton easter is how you spell it. Gets about, again, the same size, evergreen. The beauty with this one is it gets a white flower in the spring, tiny clusters of white flowers, and they turn into red berries, which is very pretty. So if you want a really low care, evergray shrub, there's a place for that. This is a great one. Full sun, full sun, full. These are the full sun, blistering hot. Give it wind, give it, abuse it, kick dirt at it. That's what they like. Okay, that's these guys. Surround it with dark colored rock. Put a wall where it just kind of roasts it. That's where these guys grow. All right, we're getting close. I brought these. Evergreen, isn't that pretty? This is how it looks in winter. This is lamb's ear. I'm into plant history. In fact, I'm thinking about a plant book just on where did they come from? Who named it? Who designed it? This is the one your great-grandparents used, maybe great-grandparents. When they didn't have running water, you had an outhouse back there. They would line the outhouse path with this because it's bright in the middle of the dark. I mean, when it's dark out, it glows. And then this is real soft on your bum. So this is what before you had paper, this is what you use. So Dusty Miller. I don't know where I collect this stuff. I just hear the stories and go, okay, Dusty Miller, that's cool. I got to share that. I brought this one because my snapdragons, they're evergreen, but they have these spent flowers. Now they were in bloom until that last big cold snap like a month ago. I brought this as a lesson. This is insider tip. Take this, if you have snapdragon, and just cut it off right here where the flowers are. Take the spent flowers off. Leave the foliage. Leave that on. And then fertilize it with the flower power. It's a fertilizer we make for flowers. Fertilize it with that. This thing will start blooming by Valentine's. It will start sending up new flowers. Deadhead it, fertilize it, it will start. It likes to bloom when it's chilly at night. Not cold. It likes frosty nights, bright days. Well, we had that cold nights, cold days for like a week or two, and the flowers said, "Okay, I'm done blooming." So you can trick it into blooming again for you. You can pulsate and do that over and over again. This will bloom most famously snapdragons in the fall and in the spring, and so it thinks it's a perennial. That is, it comes back every year. So perennial and permanent both start with P. So, but annuals live for a year and then die. This thinks it's a perennial. Really, I find it lives for a couple of years, and then it just gets old and ratty, and I want to start over. But you can get a couple of years out of snapdragons. They're kind of like wildflowers, and they'll tend to send seed up and come up in other places. They're coming up where you want them to. Bonus, if they come up in the wrong place, that's called a weed. Dig it out. Okay, don't let it do that. So snapdragons are really great. I find they're too inexpensive. You just come to the gardens and get another one for $5. and they don't transplant very well. So the question was, can I transplant one from the yard and dig it up? It's worth a try because we're gardeners. We're at a garden class in January. That's weird. Okay, you all are weird. You're gardeners. Try it. It may work. So I'll give you a lesson real quick on seedlings and that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah, snapdragon going to be, yeah, at least 6 hours. Is it full sun or not? And animals don't eat it. That's a beauty. It looks delicious, but no. If it's in less than 6 hours, it's into reach. It's a tall plant, so it tends to reach and fall over. So you'll want it in more sun. Okay. If you do flowers or vegetables, you'll want to buy one of these, one a year. Best fertilizer of making flowers and fruits. It's just great stuff. So it's water soluble. We don't sell Miracle-Gro here. I'm just not going to subject my gardeners to that. My customers deserve more. So Miracle-Gro is a salt-based fertilizer. With our heavy, heavy water, it does more damage than good. So if you got some of that junk underneath your sink, keep it there. Okay. This is not salt-based, but you use it like Miracle-Gro. It's got a scoop, 1 scoop per gallon. I get my couple of my big gallon jugs. Every couple times a month, I'll just go out and make all my vegetables and flowers happy. So this is a lot. It's a season's worth, but you should, if you're into that, this will be a game changer for you. We fertilize more often here than we do other places. We don't have dirt, especially if it's a new build. First thing they did was take the backhoe and they just scraped all the topsoil and they threw it off to the side. And some of you literally have dead dirt. There's not one living thing in it, not one worm, nothing. And so you'll have to reintroduce some of that. Bring back in the nutrients, that's compost, fertilize more often, because we're watering quite a bit here, so it tends to flush the foods out because you don't have any organics. But you can rebuild this. We're gardeners. You can just one hole at a time and just add some stuff. This is ornamental kale or flowering cabbage. Yes, it is edible. Javelina will love it. They will climb the fence. They will open the back door to come in for this. So make sure it's protected. Okay, make sure don't be out there where the animals can get to it. But it's stunning. So it's just beautiful plant. So a little trick we do here when I design, I'll take this from, let's say it's a commercial hotel, because those big pots out front. I love to plant this in the winter because it's fantastic all winter. In the spring, usually into March, April, it'll start to bolt. It's this beautiful yellow flower that's super fragrant. So people will walk by and go, "What? Your house always smells so good. Why is that?" Right here. Yeah, it's kale's a way to do it. Then when it's done flowering, I'll kind of cut it off. Actually, I'll just rip it out because that's when spring is over. We're into this, frost is done. Then I put my petunias and my geranium, my zinnias, the summer things. Kale. Lesson. Winter, what do I do? I'm running out of time. These are 2 beautiful plants. Now I brought this because we have evergreens and we have deciduous. Deciduous means loses its leaves. This is for you tropical folks who thinks things should bloom 12 months out of the year, always be green. This is SoCal and Phoenix. We don't live there. So most things have a cycle to them. This is red-twigged dogwood. Guess what the name of this is? Yellow twig dogwood. Yeah, they're both dogwoods. They're exactly the same. Okay, blonde or redhead. That's the only difference. Okay, same foliage, gets about chest high, kind of this big around. Can have a little yellow flower, but you're planting this really for its tough hardiness. I mean, just it's a shade lover. It tends to be, I would say, no more than 8 hours of sun. But it does this. Nothing is quite like it. It's just beautiful the way it shows off, especially with a light-colored fence behind it, or under the shade of a let's say a deciduous tree. It lost its leaves. Now this stuff just is real bright. And then when it needs to have shade, the tree has put its foliage back on, and so is this. So there's ways to design with plants. So dogwoods will grow here. You have a lot of these on the East Coast. They won't take as much sun as they did there. There, they're full sun. Here, they're part. They'll take some, but a little less sun. I brought these because junipers get a bad rap. I love this plant. This is Gold Coast juniper. Gets about, I don't know, just about knee high, spreads like this. And so my backyard is north side, north slope. It's dark. There's snow on the ground. I've got a pond back there, which are dark. You know, it's got a waterfall. It's dark. Everything is dark. So I can plant these around. It gives me little bright spots. It's like someone lit up the yard. There's ways to design yellow. It's kind of hard to design with, but that's how you use it. And so if you've got nothing but red or crushed granite, which is also gold, this is probably not your person. But if you've got dark rock, oh, this looks fantastic. That's why when you show me a phone, going, hey, I want to do something here, I'm looking at shadows, what else is growing there, what color rock you've got, what color's the house. There's a lot of things going through a designer's mind, and all of us are doing that all day long. So ask, take a picture, bring the iPad in, let's see it. These two guys are very much related. This is blue rug juniper. This is as tall as it gets. So we're making this to grow in between the boulders, down the rip-wrapped rock, next to the driveway where you just want something to soften that up because you got concrete with rock with, you need something living there. But you don't want it to be too big. This is a good one. Okay, so this is as tall as it gets, blue rug. And I brought this specific one because in the winter it has this purpley color, you can see that. And then this is this actual color. They actually had them overlapping in the beds over here. And so this got frosted and it turned color. And this one didn't. You're seeing this is this normal color, this bluey kind of color to it. Anyway, I don't know if you can see the bitone. It should in full sun be this bright purple color. Oh, that's okay. It stimulates root growth. Try not to do that at home. Lastly, I'll leave you with this. This is #1 selling, fast growing. If I need to block something, the wind is too heavy, the headlights coming into my house, I need a screen. This is a native. It's called Arizona cypress. It looks innocent, so it needs to be in the ground. So the lesson is a lot of plants need to be in the ground and root first before they take off. So this one will do nothing for the first year, but it's doing a lot. It's rooting like crazy. The second season you come out going, where did that plant come from? Just poof, poof, start to fill out. This is a 25 by 12 foot thick plant, like thick, not wispy, thick. Animals don't bother it. Takes the wind, takes the sun, takes whatever we give it. So it's a fast growing, hardy plant. So once you get this thing up, I would juice it with water, juice it with fertilizer, and then I would ignore it for the rest of its life or my life. It's a true native. So, but you kind of want to juice, especially a new build, you kind of want to get them bigger. You want to get them to go. And so this is a great one. You got a neighbor, looking down at your new hot tub. This is a good one right there. Just kind of, it'll take a couple of years, but all of a sudden it'll kind of go, whoop, and it'll block it right out. So good screening plant down. I wouldn't put it right next to the house. Way too big for that. It wants to be next to the fence line out there. Because again, 25, that's tall, that's as big as this greenhouse. And then 12 foot wide, it's maybe not quite that wide, but it's pretty wide and thick, okay? Yeah. So Arizona cypress, I would say this, for all of your evergreens, spruce, pine, fir, cypress, cedar, junipers, I would plant them now before the flush of growth in spring. I'd like to get them in the ground so they wake up when the soil's finally soil driven, soil's warm enough, they'll go, oh, I don't know where I'm at, I don't know what just happened, but I'm growing here, poof, and they flush out. You'll get more growth by planting it now. That's the insider tip for my friends. I sell more of them to non-friends or just gardeners, people coming in when they've been bored, they're out and they're finally out in April. These things have already started to flush, and they'll come in. And I've jacked the price up because now they're bigger plants. We've harvested, we've held on for another year. You can get more plant by planting now because you're taking advantage of that growth. Spruce, really important. Pine, Austrian pines. I could go a whole nother class. I just mainly wanted to go big screening plant because that's a thing. This is the one. It's not the only one. Again, you'll have a top 10 list here pretty quick. That'll give you all 10. Probably there's even more than that. There's probably 20 of them out there right now. But you are fine to plant right. Let's just cover that. How do you plant? And then we're done, I promise. I know I'm 10 minutes over, but let's just go. So plants do not put a taproot on. That is a total myth. There's no root that goes down to China. There's nothing down there for them except granite, more clay, caliche. I mean, you never heard that. That's a hard mineral calcium deposit. It's this chalky white layer. So the roots are going to go sideways. They're going to go down about 2 feet and then just start going like this. Because they know when the monsoons come, I need a big root structure so I can pick up as much of that water as I can, because it might not be another 3 or 4 weeks before I get more rain. So these plants know that's where they're growing. And so if you know that, dig the root ball, dig your hole 3 times the width round as a root ball, same depth. So you're only growing this. This is hard for you contractors. You bought that new tractor and you just want to go dig. Yeah. I had a guy who was helping him. He was down to his chest high in his hole. I go, what are you doing down there? Get out of there. You don't want to go deep because the ground settles and you're all of a sudden in a divot. You want this root ball, especially where it's heavy clay, the granite dells to out Granville, that whole valley is real hard, heavy, and caliche layers, okay? It doesn't drain very well. You want this plant to be at soil level when you get done or a little above. In fact, my best Arizona cypress experience, Prescott Valley, our first home, I was killing stuff. I left the root ball. I left about 2 inches of root out of the ground, and I slightly fed kind of on a slight mound. I feathered the soil out there. Then I put my drip emitters on top of that. And no matter how much rain we got in the monsoons in August, it could breathe. It's like being in a pool. You can leave your nose up out of the water. That's what that does for this. If this sits in water, it will die. So there's nothing you can do about it. It will just slowly get yellow. It defoliates. The top will die off. It's a painful, slow thing to watch. That's overwatering. So this guy's going to want to be underwatered. And it's hard to do in a clay soil. So the way you do that is wide hole at soil level. Don't do it like Phoenix. Phoenix says, put it in a divot, put it in a hole because we can rain harvest. They don't see rain. And it's 100 degrees at midnight. We get cool. So things don't dry out as much here. So it stays wet. Don't do that here. You want to be at or above soil level. And then 3 times the width, same depth. Whatever soil you have there, some of you are going to have to filter your soil. If it's bigger than a golf ball, roots, rocks, chuck that stuff out. Because that heats up in summer and bakes the roots. The particles are too big to hold water molecules. You want smaller particles. Then whatever's left, you want to amend. Water's mulch. We're screening this. This is a locally sourced, organic compost. You folks from the Midwest, mulch means bark. Here it means compost, like coffee ground looking stuff. So it's rich. So you want to add some of that to your soil, about 25 to 30%. Or just think shovel. 1 shovel mulch to 3 shovels of native soil. Blend that together. If you ran into a big boulder, maybe it's 50-50. If it's more than that, we'll need to put some topsoil or something else. But most of us can get away with 30, 50%. Blend that together. That's your mix to pack around the root ball. Pack it down so there's no air pockets, really tight. Okay. Then you're going to add water's all-purpose plant food. So organic food or all natural food. So about a handful or so. Again, we've got handouts. You'll have this in your inbox here shortly. Handful of that around that. That's what's going to fertilize it for the next 3 months. So every time you water or it rains, a little bit of food. That's a great thing about all natural foods. Just a little bit comes out every time. And then at the end, your plant is absolutely going to freak out. It's home. It's known this home its entire life. You just chucked it out, put it into awful dirt. It is going to freak out. They call it transplant shock. What I'll do for that is I'll water it in with this at the end. This is Root and Grow. It's a compost tea we make. It's made for transplant shock. It's also a fantastic cactus fertilizer, yuccas, but it looks like maple syrup. It looks like fish emulsion without this nasty rancid smell. So this doesn't smell bad. So I'll mix a couple of capfuls in a gallon of water and I'll go water my plants. So I'll do this every 2 weeks until I see the plant stabilize, going, oh, I am such a gardener. Look what we just did. It's growing. It's happy. Phew. Then I won't give it this again. I'll let the food take. This is steak and potatoes. This is milk. So that's the difference. And that's what I'll do. Now, insider tip, and then I'll leave it. I keep saying that. So you're just too good a group. I'm enjoying you all. A speaker who enjoys the audience, we're going to stay up here as long as possible. AquaBoost crystals. These are little crystals. I don't know if you can see that. These are polymers. Can they see that online? Kind of, sort of, sorry. So we've taken polymer crystals, which you can add water to this, and this will swell up and hold about 5-gallon buckets of water. This is like gelatin. But we've infused them with mycorrhizal colonies. So mycorrhizals are those things that live in the ground. They feed off the compost that you added there, and then they attach themselves to the roots. So it like extends the roots of your plants. It's magic for vegetables, for flowers, things you water more often, raised beds, containers. I personally get a bottle of this every year. And every time I plant, I just sprinkle a couple tablespoons in the bottom of the hole so that I can actually seed my mycorrhizal colonies. Super beneficial for your plants, more important than worms. But if you're doing this, if you add this compost, you loosen up the soil, put some mycorrhizal colonies, it like ignites with life the soil. So plants want to root and worms just come. I don't know where they come from. They just magically show up. It's just this ecosystem starts to happen tree by tree, by shrub, by flower bed. So AquaBoost crystals, something you've probably never used before, but in a dry climate, game changer. If you're doing raised beds, this is a must. If you're doing container gardens, because you're watering this so often, it cuts your water in half because the roots, it's holding the water there at the roots and it's encouraging root growth. So AquaBoost crystals, a little something different I'll throw at you. And that'll be in that handout, okay? I don't put it on top. I want it where the roots are going to be. I think in terms of where my roots going to grow through, where do I want the water to be when this plant is growing out? That's what I want. So, okay, that's how you plant. I have one last question here, one last question there, and then we are out. Okay? Oh, I knew it. Okay. Sure. Rocks are insulation. So if you put rock is mulch. Actually, a definition of rock is mulch in technical terms. So it's a layer that insulates the soil from, or what you can do, let's say if you love roses or you want beautiful lilacs, I think it looks awkward to have rock right up to your tree trunk, right up to, it looks unnatural. What I do is I'll tend to bring the rock back and make a nice circle, still keeps the formality of the rock, but then I'll add mulch right around this edge, and I can define or control my rock and the plant benefits from the worms. You'll get more worms, get more other stuff. So that's kind of how I do it. That could work very well for you as well. Also, so whatever you do here, stay away from synthetic food or petroleum-based foods. It's famous in the Midwest. This is like turf builders, these heavy chemicals. They'll scorch or burn they'll make the plants grow fast, but they vaporize worms. So you're trying to enrich your soils. You don't want to kill it by using synthetics. You want to use all natural foods. If you're on a well, for the love of gardening, do not use chemical fertilizer, or you can poison yourself. Use organic foods. The number's a little lighter, so this is 744, but the plants pull up all 744 of it because it's organic, slower release. It's better for your plants. So we're big into organics here, big into natural, and we're big in that it works. And so these are things that'll help you. Okay. With that, I will hang out as long as you all want. Come look at the plants. I'm not going anywhere. I think I'll open up that one side so it's easier to get in and out of. I think it's warm enough. Then I'll hang out. Oh, but before I go, I like to present stuff. I'll let you clap just to make me feel good. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, you all. Appreciate that.